Dakota and Turbo Girl bringing you another video, but it's just Dakota today. Turbo Girl's babysitting granddaughter. So rolling out of our driveway down Ivy Hill Road, onto Barnersville Highway, off of Barnersville Highway, onto Stockton Branch Road. So this is the way we start just about every one of our rides. Is out our driveway, down our little hill, down the road and get off Barnersville Highway as soon as we can. Anyway, Stockton Branch Road lasts about a mile and a half, nice gentle downhill. And then we have some decisions to make. I'm going to take a right here onto Old Mars Hill Highway. On our last video, I went under the interstate and took a left on Old Mars Hill Highway, but this time I'm taking a right on the east side of the interstate and going to head north here for about a mile, maybe a little over a mile. And so we have a little climb there by the Shell station. This road, Old Mars Hill Highway, parallels the interstate. Just towards the end of the Old Mars Hill, as I'm coming up to our next turn, this is just a bomb of a descent. I just love it. It's a little downhill, and I'll have to come back up it at the end. But we go over the Little Ivy River, right there where it was totally decimated with flood damage, but the bridge survived. So after a nice fast downhill, now I've got a little bit of a grinder of about a half mile uphill till I get to my next corner here onto what's called Beach Glen Road. So if I would have went straight, I could have took that road up to Mars Hill. It turns into South Main to go into Mars Hill. But I took a right here before I went over the interstate onto Beach Glen Road. Beach Glen Road is just a gorgeous valley road that we ride a lot. It's got a little tributary, a little creek off to the right-hand side. You can't really see that feeds into the Little Ivy River. And so this little side road has relatively no traffic. It's kind of a road we take on just about every ride because it gets us to so many other options. And so one of our favorite routes here. And so I've been rolling for about 2-3 miles on this Beach Glen Road. Now I'm coming into Beach Glen is actually what the road's named after. And you're going to see this beautiful white stone church as I come around this corner here on your right-hand side. I think it's gorgeous. You know, white stone is, I look at it sometimes, I think it's kind of weird looking, but I think it's really pretty. White stone church, Beach Glen Church. And so we're rolling through this little, I guess you'd call it a little community of Beach Glen. There's a couple houses and a church. They have a wonderful, like a little athletics complex there with in the summertime, they're always youth softball. Church probably sponsors it. And now, as I'm on Beach Glen Road, I'm going to take a right. I could stay on Beach Glen Road 2 more miles and hit the interstate, Highway 219, or excuse me, Highway 19. I'm going to take a right here on a road that's called Paint Fork Road. So here we go. We're going to get on Paint Fork Road. And Karen and I call this the Valley Road because it's about 8 miles. We can ride on this road. And it follows that little creek tributary, I can't think of the name of it right now, that feeds into Little Ivy River. But this is just gorgeous, and there's relatively no traffic. Winds following the creek, so I'm actually doing a little bit of a uphill on the beginning here, maybe a 1% gradient, because the little creek's coming towards me on my right-hand side. So as you know, water runs downhill, and so I'm going up slightly uphill. And this we can roll on for a good 3-4 miles. And there's some side roads off of it that loop back like out to the highway 19. But today I'm going to stay on it. It's not a ride we do a lot all the way to the end of Paint Fork Road because there's a hill coming up, which is known as the Wall. It's 22% grade at the top. And so here we are. I've been on this Paint Fork Road now for 4 or 5 miles, and I'm just entering this climb. And so I've had a gradual increasing ascent. Oh, the guardrail off on the right. You'll see a cross here in a second on your right-hand side. It's right there on your right, and there's a picture of a cyclist. I guess the story is I heard from another cyclist that a biker came down this hill. It's 22% gradient at the top, So I came down this hill once at 59 miles an hour. It's my fastest ever on a bike. And this guy was by himself, and they found him at the bottom next to that guardrail, I guess, and he was deceased. And so he had somehow lost his control of his bike, probably, who knows, I don't know the circumstances, what happened, but they put a little memorial there, a little cross and a picture of the cyclist. I'm at the top. It's about a good half mile of just 10 to 22% gradient. And right here, it's 22% as I'm approaching the top. Now, I do have to admit I'm on my e-bike, and I rolled into it in eco mode, quickly went to sport mode, which is 50% assistance. And this last 200 meters, 300 meters to the top, full turbo. So I'm getting 100% assistance from my bike, which means it maxes out at about 240 watts. So if I'm putting in 240, and trust me, I was putting out more than that, probably closer to like 3 to 400 watts. But the bike is giving me an extra 240. It maxes out at 240. But if I put in 240, it matches me. That's 100% assistance. And I finally got over the top. And let me tell you, even with 100% assistance, up to 240 extra watts being given to me, it is still a brute. Of course, now I'm descending to the other side, which is a nice gentle downhill, 2-3 miles. And I'm approaching Highway 19. Now, Highway 19, I-26, and Highway 19 split right after Mars Hill. And Highway 19 heads over to Burnsville. And I'm now getting on Highway 19 here at this stoplight. If I took a right, I'd go about 3-4 miles. I'd go to Burnsville, North Carolina. If I take a left, which I'm going to do here once the light changes, and I'd head back towards Mars Hill on Highway 19, which merges with I-26 right when it gets to Mars Hill. And it's a busy highway. It's a 4-lane, and so we really don't ride on it very much at all, other than just to take it to get to quieter roads. And that's what I'm doing here today. So I'm at about 23 miles into the ride. I've gone about a mile now on Highway 19, switching over to left turn lane, watching for oncoming traffic, which there is none as I approach this corner. And now I'm going to swing on to off of Highway 19, and I'm swinging onto a road called Possum Trot Road. I know, Possum Trot. Interesting name. There's a parking lot right there for park and ride. People that work in maybe Asheville or Burnsville, they actually have a parking lot for people to park and carpool. And so that was right there off of Highway 19. But now I'm onto this little side road coming off of 19 called Possum Trot. And I'm actually going to cut a corner. Highway 19 goes west and then curves back to the south. This road is going to do the exact same thing. And so I'm taking a back road not to ride on the highway. I'm taking this blacktop 2-lane, which has zero traffic. I didn't see a single car, I don't think, today, maybe one. And so I've got about 2 to 3 miles of just kind of gentle, gradual uphill here, climbing over. I came over that huge climb on the way out on Paint Fork Road. And actually, the big hill I went over is called Paint Gap. So I'm kind of following the same ridge line. Now I'm heading back towards Mars Hill. And I've gone about 2 miles of gradual uphill, and now I'm coming to the last half mile on Possum Trot. And it's actually now going to turn really sharply here, and the road changes. Possum Trot, I guess, continues on and turns to gravel. But I'm going on to what's called Pender Creek Road, and it's almost a hairpin turn here. If you come from the other direction down this descent, that's a nasty corner to have really sharp right-hander. Coming up it, obviously much more gentle left-hander. And now I've got this last maybe quarter mile to get to the top of this climb. And I remember looking at my Garmin today, and it averages 10 to 13% here for about a half mile. And so I jumped ahead a little bit here to the top of the climb. And so this is a solid 13% getting up over the top of this thing. Road's a little rough shape, but I tell you, there's no traffic back here other than maybe some of the locals that live in the area. And so now, after crawling up that thing at 13% gradient, I get this awesome descent. And right at the top here, as you can see, the speed picks up really fast because it's probably a 12, 13, 14% descent on the other side. And there are a couple of really, I'll call them nasty corners. They kind of sneak up on you. And so, and you can't really see what's coming. This next one is really tough. It's kind of a corkscrew right-hander. And I've gone into this before too fast, and lucky nothing was coming, because I had to kind of use the other side of the road not to cut the corner so tight. And again, no traffic. And so now I remember looking down at my speedometer, and I think I'm rolling about 40 to 45 miles an hour through here, because it is a solid, that 10, 12% descent. Of course, come up from the other direction, it'd be an ascent. And typically we do come up that from the other direction. The way I'm going down, we typically come up. Today I decided I'm just going to reverse it. The weather today was just perfect. Sunny most of the time, a little partly cloudy once in a while, but 50 degrees. I dressed just right. I didn't even have to have shoe covers. I just had little toe covers on my shoes, medium weight gloves instead of my heavy gloves. Much warmer day than yesterday. Was like 40 degrees. So this video is taken on Friday, December 13th, and it was a gorgeous afternoon. And so I'm bombing down this descent. It's 2 miles of downhill after about that 2 to 3 mile ascent to get over that ridge. And again, you can just let it roll. As you get farther down these mountains, the corners tend to become less drastic. So I'm coming to the end of the 2 miles here, and I'm just going to kind of, that's that stop yield sign. And now I'm merging onto a little side road that's going to take me right up to, I'm only a couple hundred meters from Highway 19. In fact, there's a church. It seems like every one of these roads has a church at the corner to an intersection. And this is the big white church. We always say, well, right up to the white church, and take this road over to towards Burnsville. And so I'm just rolling on this little side road that's going to take me right up to Highway 19. Again, that's why I started on 19 on this road, but I just kind of cut the corner, cut through the woods. I've descended down on Highway 19. Now I'm coming into Mars Hill. I actually took a right off of 19, took the back road up into Mars Hill, just to get a few extra miles. This will end up being about a 40-mile ride. And so I'm coming into the outskirts, the north end of Mars Hill, and just a gorgeous road. They just re-asphalted that road this summer, and like I've said many times, there's nothing better than a nice brand new black asphalt road. It's just as smooth as glass. And now I'm kind of descending down into Main Street, Mars Hill, which is always just a fun descent. It's in town, but the cars aren't usually an issue at all. I got to go through a couple stoplights up here in a minute, and I usually am pretty lucky and try to catch them on the green. If they're red and you're a couple blocks away, you just feather the brakes to kind of, nothing worse than having to come to a complete stop, on clip, put a foot down. And I actually have to do that today. And so as I'm coming down on Main Street, so I came in on North Main and coming right down to the main intersection. The Mars Hill University is to the right. If I took a right at this stoplight, I'd be that's right into campus there where those barriers are. But coming down to Main Street to the stoplight, and just kind of impatiently weaving my way through because the light's red, and hey, I'm thin enough to fit through there. Hoping the light's going to turn green any second now, and it doesn't. Have to stop, on clip, put a foot down, and then it turns green. So now I've rolled out, and I've taken South Main out of Mars Hill and peeled off onto a little side road. I could have went straight down the hill to home, but instead I took Wood Almonds Road, and now I'm going to split off right there onto a road called Turkey Branch Road. And this is about a 2-mile descent. And so I'm kind of just rolling to the top of this thing. And the views up here are spectacular. If any of my friends ever come out here and want to ride, I'm going to definitely try to get them up on this ridge, because you can see mountain ranges to your left. You can see mountain range to your right. Can't see them on the camera, unfortunately. There's some gorgeous homes. I think you have to have a few poker chips to build up on the tops of some of these ridges, mountains, because you're paying for the view. I know there's always a premium for waterfront property with real estate, Well, here in the mountains, you pay a premium for views. And let me tell you, the people up at the top of this ridge on Turkey Branch Road have one heck of a view from either side of this road. Like I said, on the left-hand side faces east, just towards Asheville. The right-hand side facing west would be towards Tennessee, Georgia. And it is gorgeous. But being at the top, I'm going to head down to the Little Ivy River. And I'm pretty much, I'm not sure how big a drop. I'll have to look it up. But I'm going to hit this descent now. And there's one sweeping left-hander right here at the top. And then it's pretty much a straight shot. A couple slight bends. So this is definitely a 40 to 45 mile an hour screamer. I'm down on Turkey Branch Road, and you just let it roll. The corners are very gentle. There's going to be a couple of little corners, but I think I'll spare you that. But if you ever come out here ride with me, this is one you definitely want to go check out, because it's a beautiful view at the top, and it's a nice, fun descent all the way down to the Little Ivy River. And we're going to probably skip ahead here in a second. I think I didn't want to let the camera run too long on the descent, because it's pretty uneventful in that it's pretty much straight down. So yeah, here we are at the bottom now of Turkey Branch Road, and I just had that stop yield sign, and that's pulling onto this Little Ivy River Road, and so it's actually called Forks of Ivy Road. And yeah, the destruction along here, I've had a few videos of this previously. The water is probably, if I was riding on this the day this river flooded after Hurricane Helene, which was September 27th, the water would be probably above the road about 8 feet. I would be underwater if I was riding my bike that day through this area, because that's how deep the water was. It's just unfathomable. You can kind of see the water every once in a while off to my right. That's got to be 10 feet below the road. And there's debris I was looking today, there's debris in the trees probably 8 feet up from the road. So after about a mile on Little Forks of Ivy Road, I back under I-26. The road's in really rough shape from the flood. It's kind of tore up. But now I'm going to kind of reverse back onto Old Mars Hill Highway. So I'm crossing this little tributary, kind of a creek that feeds into the Little Ivy River. And now I'm coming on to Mars Hill, Old Mars Hill Highway. There, another one of those stop yield signs. And so now I'm actually reversing what I started on this video. If you remember, I said, well, it's just a screaming descent down this. Once I got onto Mars Hill Road, Old Mars Hill Highway, now I'm reversing. Just crossed the Little Ivy River, climbing away from Little Ivy River uphill, the hill I came screaming down, about 35 miles earlier. And so now I'm going to crawl up over the top of this. It's only about a half a mile, and it's pretty gentle. It's like 6, maybe it touches 7% gradient towards the end. And so here I am coming up on the intersection of Old Mars Hill Highway, got the stop yield sign, and I'm turning back onto Stockton Branch Road, the same road I came down from Barnersville Highway. So I'm just reversing my way back home. So instead of having a gentle downhill, I got a gentle uphill. Back onto Barnersville Highway, now I'm just taking a left back onto Little Ivy Hill Road. That's where Karen and I live, about 150 yards up from Barnersville Highway. Moving over to the left lane, I can see there's nothing coming, and there's a truck behind me. And growing up on a farm with tractors and stuff, we always pulled over to the left lane if we could, and let Gary, I think it was that pickup truck, and give him a nice, easy pass. Anyway, end of about a 40-mile ride. Just a beautiful day. I think I averaged a little over 19 miles an hour. So much fun. Hey, thanks for coming along on the ride with me. Have a great day.